What's up, everybody? This is Colin Dijs. I'm here today with Ross Macfarlane, and today we'll show you how to run native ads for ClickBank offers. Most of you guys who are starting with affiliate marketing or want to scale up your business, very much focus on ClickBank, one of the biggest networks out there. And of course, you have questions. Fortunately, pushing over 8 figures in revenue with affiliate offers, we have a lot of answers. Right, Ross?
Yes. Good to be here. Looking forward to today's call.
Yeah, I'll just do a quick screen share to make things a little bit easier, and then we'll write it out. Because the process is actually quite simple. It's not that complicated. However, there's 2 parts to this story, right? ClickBank by itself being quite a unique affiliate network. I assume that most people can get easy access to this network, but then of course, you also have the native ads, right? Which is the second part of the story. And you got to make that good combination, right? Because you're looking to make money. We're all looking to make money. But the question is, how do you structure this properly? Well, let's start with ClickBank, right? Because the native ads part is obviously our expertise. It's very fun. However, ClickBank, there are some different opinions on this, right? So you have, what do we have? In terms of offers, it is primarily US and it's primarily VSL, right?
Yes.
Then we have, what else do we have? It's basically, I would say, dominated by, let's say, health. I think that's primarily it. You know, you have some like off-the-grid survival stuff which converts well, but for native, you're probably going to look for the health niche, no? What else?
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, I mean, you can get away with, like, I know there was a campaign being run last year. It was like a parenting campaign, but again, it was VSL, US market. It was like teaching kids, but other than that, yeah, health mainly.
Primarily, it's all within the same flow, right?
Yeah.
So,
it's all the same shit.
So then I would say when you, so this is the pros, right? It converts really well because the offers are mad aggressive, right? Which is very important to understand. You have easy access to this platform. So when you go to ClickBank, all you really need to do is just sign up. And let's say 99% of the affiliates will get approved, right? It's just like, look at their, here, 4.2 billion paid over 20 years. It's like been around for a long time, but because it has been around for a long time, it also has quite the reputation. So the cons, and there always will be cons when working with partners, right? Are definitely delayed payments, right? So I don't know the exact terms. I get paid weekly from ClickBank. I assume you get paid weekly, but there are some structures where you get paid like net 60 or something. You get paid like 1 month later, yes? So you do it like a 60-day delay. I think we can even look it up. Let me just remove this real quick. ClickBank payment terms. Because at the end of the day, when do I get paid, right? It's quite a complex structure, I would say. Okay, sales period starts, debit the backdraft, payment sent for 3rd to 16th period. So you work for about 2 weeks, then there's 2 weeks delay, and then you get the payment. And this is bi-weekly, then you have weekly as well. And then you have the option for the additional hold of 90 days, right? So I will connect you this. So this is delayed payments. It's either bi-weekly or weekly, right?
Probably depending on the volume you're doing it.
Right, you need to get to that threshold, but even still on a weekly payment schedule, it's not weekly because they have this debit backdating, what they call it, which is like 2 weeks. So there's always, it's going to take 3 weeks, and here it's going to take 4 weeks, right, to get paid. So it's not weekly. They say it's weekly, but it's not. You could get weekly payments after the initial 4 weeks. So it's 4 weeks and then weekly and then 4 weeks back, right, which is kind of fucked up. The reason why this is the case is because of the refunds and the chargebacks, right?
Yeah, I'm going to mention that.
So this is not a CPA network. They don't solely focus on CPA. With CPA, the chargebacks and refunds are calculated into the payout, which then assures us that the EPC is quite stable. With the refunds and the chargebacks on this specific platform, it can go really crazy, up to a point where if you reach too many, right, which is, I think, refunds bigger than 15% and chargebacks bigger than 3% consistently. So consistently is more than 2 payments, billing periods. So over a period of 6 weeks. And nobody tells you this, right, on YouTube, but it's important because they close your account, right? So they put a hold for 90 days. Apparently, you don't send proper traffic. And what it has to do with, what you have to understand is credit cards are processed by merchant accounts, right? Merchant accounts like Stripe, PayPal, and they have specific legal rules that if there's too many disputes, then what are you selling? It's bad for their reputation as processor. There's a lot of legal problems, financial problems involved in that system that ClickBank says. ClickBank has their own merchant accounts, right, from ClickBank as the network. We don't want this. We don't want too many refunds. We don't want too many chargebacks, because all these transactions that are being processed, they need to pay money for it. So let's say you pay me $100, then I refund you $100, but I pay $1.50 in processing fees. So now I'm losing money. Make sense?
Yes.
But that's fucked up, isn't it? And of course,
Yeah,
they don't want
especially if
this.
it's happening all the time. Yeah, I mean, you know what I mean? It can build up, and if you base it over a 12-month period, it can affect your bottom line quite dramatically.
Right, and they are obviously dealing with tens of thousands of active affiliates, right? So the hold of 90 days then becomes termination, right? We basically say, like, oh, we'll hold your money for 90 days to cover all this shit, and what's left, we just send you the money, and then we terminate your account, because apparently you're not a qualified partner to work with consistently. Well, that is obviously something to consider when working with this network. That's why the offers are so aggressive, right? You can see on ClickBank conversion rates of 10%. Why? Because you will also experience a lot of refunds and chargebacks, which on normal networks, like for example, ClickDealer, AdCombo, just to name a few, Max Bounty, it's CPA. So if the refunds or chargebacks are too high, they will just lock you off that offer, right? They'll just say like, hey, the advertiser doesn't want you to run this anymore because there's too many problems with your traffic. It's like, okay, I'll just pick a different offer, or I will inspect why this is happening. So basically what happened is, in this scenario, let me go to the sketchpad real quick, right? Make an awesome sketch for you guys again.
Oh yeah, I'm looking for
So here's the ClickBank, yeah? And you're here. So this is, again, a beautiful you holding here.
Oh, it looks like me.
Yeah, it does look like you. So this is your business, right? and this is ClickBank's business. What you have to understand is that you send traffic and in return you get money. But it doesn't go directly like this. It goes like this, right? Or more so, I mean, you send the traffic like so, and they send the money like so, right? This is how the money goes to you. So you send traffic in real time. This like literally takes, well, let's say 1 day, right? And this takes 28 days. Which means that as soon as there's a problem, they will know it right off the start, and they can cut this line anytime they want, and they have a lot of power, right?
Yeah.
On the other hand, let's say everything goes well, because that often also happens. What happens in that scenario, they will improve their service, right? And this is the reason that they're dealing with a lot of affiliates, tens of thousands of affiliates. So if you show that you can make them money by you're making yourself money, right? Because they take a little commission part out of your commission, then they will make a direct line to you. So any ClickBank Platinum affiliate has different rules, right? And they will just be paid faster under different circumstances. So all of a sudden you have a direct line, and now you can make a lot of money with them, right? However, again, you're limited to the US market. Now comes the question, right? How to make money with ClickBank and Native Ads. We'll answer this question, but I would say it's not ideal for a beginner. You're dealing with tier 1, right? Because you're dealing with US. And what do we have in the US, Ross?
Very competitive market, high CPMs, so it's very expensive.
Yes, relatively, it's expensive to other countries, right? Yeah, high CPM in general. That's perfectly summed up, Ross. overall, when you're starting and you're learning, what you want to learn the most for the least amount invested, right? You got to find the balance there. And let me just stop this real quick, this screenshot, just so I can explain it properly. When you're starting out, and I think you see that a lot in the coaching chats, you know, that you cover for our coaching project. If you're interested in the coaching, check the link down below. But in general, I think the market goes up in terms of experience, the investment also has to go up. And then you have the question, okay, let's say you spend $3,000 on a campaign. That's a lot of money, right, to test. And you learn how to test and how to optimize. You still haven't gotten to the scaling part. But for $3,000 in a tier 2 geo, you could have learned the entire system. So 100% instead of 66%. What would you pick?
Yeah, obviously the second option, but I think people's perception and it's like they see I'm trying to find the word, you know, they don't want that. They want the big payouts instead of learning the process, which will then lead to the profits.
Yeah, but okay, let me go back to the screen share now, and I can give you a good example on my beautiful sketchpad. So it's like this, yeah. You always have a graph of progression. So this is, here we have money and here we have time, right? And we say that the system would ideally go something like this, right? The more time goes on, the more money you would make, right?
Yep.
This is your learning process. Ideally, everybody wants to go like this, right? But you will more go something like this, what we see most often, right? There is some point, or you'll go up quite slowly. Let's say you go up, like you follow this graph a little, and then it will just grow exponential, right? This, right? I would say that's more of a normal scenario in this example. Why? Because the accumulation of knowledge happens at a certain stage. Okay, let's say now we're running on ClickBank, right? What happens is the offers, they convert really well. So you don't start at the bottom, you start already. So I would say anybody who wants to make money with ClickBank in combination with native ads would start already at, let's say, minus 50% ROI, because the offers, they just simply convert, right? Because they're so aggressive. So you're not starting at the bottom, you're starting right here. So you're already getting some revenue, not profit, but revenue, right? Then it maybe slowly goes up, right? You see some more profit, more revenue. Then you get around the right flow, right? But what happens is then the refunds and chargebacks come, right? And then you recover again, and then you take a hit again. Then you recover again, then you take a hit again. So the question is this for titties, you see? Is this the ideal scenario or not? I would say no. Generally, you want to have, at least in your business, some stability. It really depends. If this is, let's say, 100 a day, and this is 200 a day, the $50 to $100 difference is not really that big of a problem. But if it's 1,000 and 2,000, it all of a sudden becomes quite a problem. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and therefore, when you would be in a tier 2 geo, we're talking about $10 and $20, right? When you're learning. And that's obviously way more, the gap becomes a lot smaller in this scenario. So then it is about cash flow, right? How much money do you have? Well, how much money would you say, because this is tier 1, right? Even US. Let me write that again. Tier 1, US. I would say go with ClickBank Tier 1 US if you're willing to spend $5,000 on one campaign, right? You could do it with $2,000, but I don't think you would get the sufficient results that people desire, right? Because you don't only desire conversions, you desire profits. And to make that happen, 5,000. Let's say tier 2. I wouldn't recommend tier 3 because that's a little too intense, but tier 2, I would say you can get a long way with 1,000 to 2,000, right? What will happen is, based on the CPM, so the relative CPM here might be, what might it be? $5, $6?
Yeah, could be, depending on that exchange, yeah.
So let's say $6, yeah?
Yeah.
And let's say the relative CPM here, let's pick a little bit higher, let's say $1, right?
Yep.
The only difference between this entire system is that you learn 6 times more in this flow, right? Because we assume that on these data points, you get 6 times the amount of data. So then the question is, and that's, I think, our whole methodology as consultants, as coaches in general. I believe that knowledge results in money, right? Or does money result in money? That's the question.
Yeah. Well, you need the knowledge to spend the money, to make the money.
Right. Yeah, that's what we believe, and that's what we've seen by training, 21,000 people. But on the other hand, I think it's quite a different concept to grasp that, because you see so many people dive straight to this system, to this. So let's say, for example, I think a lot of people don't even know about this little line here or when they're going to get paid. And that is just treating the business as a hobby compared to treating it as a business,
Yeah.
I think these things are very important. And the title is obviously quite clickbaity, how to make money with ClickBank and Native Ads. This is how it's done, but these are all very important elements to consider. Because if you would ask me right now, would ClickBank be the ideal network for somebody with a little bit of experience? I say, fuck no, right? The reason being is, yes, it converts really well, but there's a lot of other mechanics that are working against you unless you have strong cash flow. And when I say strong cash flow, I'm talking about 10, 20 grand to spend on campaigns, and not feel too upset about that.
I think a big thing as well, Colin, and one thing that you definitely drilled into me was cash flow as well. Like, it's okay saying, yeah, I've got 5 grand, I want to do tier 1, I want to do ClickBank. It's like, okay, but if you're spending anything from 100, 200, 300 a day, by the time you get your first payment, you may not even be out the optimizing phase. So your campaign, you might have to pause your campaign if cash flow is not, because the cash flow is just not sufficient to continue the campaign. So you might get lucky at the start, because any marketer who knows their worth knows that like 8 out of 10 campaigns will probably bomb. It's just the 2 campaigns that are profitable, we scale them to the moon. But if you're lucky enough to get a profitable campaign on your first campaign in a tier 1 with a ClickBank offer, you have to have the cash flow there to back it up, because the worst thing that you would want is to have a ClickBank campaign that's profitable with some good placements, some good images, some good headlines, and then you run out of fucking cash and you have to pause it.
Yeah, that's obviously a
So
big
it's
problem.
like you can't scale.
And I would say in terms of tier 1, tier 2, when we talk about the UK, Australia, it's not necessarily a problem. Netherlands, Germany, all still tier 1, but very wealthy, strong purchase power. But I'm taking this example specific USA, right?
Yeah.
What happens is, let's say we take tier 2, Poland, right? On the widget level, we might have, let's say, 250 widgets here, right? 250 to 500 for Poland. But on the tier 1 widgets, US, you might have 2,000 to 4,000 widgets. And this is the other side, right? This is the native side. This has nothing to do with ClickBank. This is the native side that people have to consider, which, I mean, it's important to see where the CPM here is, that's in $1, and here's $4, $5, $6. That you're also dealing with extreme high quantities of traffic. Okay, so now I come to my favorite topic. Yesterday, 2 of my top students, yes, right now, I'm talking about 40 grand profit a month, and on the other hand, about 180 grand profit a month. But they still ask the same questions, which is in a pattern where I believe that they are desperate, right? They're desperate for money. And when you're desperate for money, you cannot make proper money. So the question in this scenario is, what do you do with a widget list which has 2,000 to 4,000 widgets? do we follow our normal testing procedure, or what do we do?
Well, following that, 4,000 widgets is going to cost you a fuck ton of money.
Right.
So it's like, where's the balance? You got depending on where you're running, which ad exchange and stuff. I mean, could you speak to the account manager, get the list cut in half? I mean,
Okay, let's say that's not possible.
Oh, I mean,
Let's say this is a white list with, no, let's not say 2,000 to 4,000. Let's say 2,000. 2,000 placements. It's a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot. Yeah, I mean, you're looking payout minimum. I mean, even if you're using a normal networks, average payout $80 for a tier one.
Let's say $100 would make a little bit the equation a little bit more simple.
Yeah, so you're looking at a lot of fucking cash. Yeah.
Yeah, so you're looking at about 200 grand.
Yep.
Okay, but how to go about it though? You know?
Yeah.
That's the question.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, start off on a low bid, keep the spend low. Only a certain amount.
So then you get the initial data. Okay, let's say you spent $5 grand. Yes. Then you pulled in, let's say a lot of widgets don't spend, right?
Yep.
The other widgets, you pull in some conversions, you have some profitable widgets. Let's say you have 4 profitable widgets. Then what do you do?
4 profitable widgets. You can squeeze that campaign. You can squeeze.
So let's say you squeeze the campaign, 4 widgets out of 2,000, then you'll basically leave 98% on the side.
Yep. True. Yes.
So that's a dilemma, right? When you're dealing with such a big campaign, it is very easy to say, and that's also what they said, right? I believe, or at least in general, the opinions differ, of course, but I believe that if you would pursue a campaign where you get a whitelist, where you see there's 2,000 widgets, don't fuck with that. You know, you don't have the capabilities to properly follow how you should do things. Yes, we teach you how to test, what to look for, the impressions, the CPA rule, the structure, then the optimization, all the deep optimization steps, how to do everything. And then people decide to do something else, right? They decide to, okay, let me run this campaign, turn it into a squeeze campaign, which makes no sense because that's just only for profit, right?
No longevity.
The word longevity, I'll just write down long. I'll come back to that in a second. Which happens then you have like this entire fucking list, which you basically deplete because you only use the top 2%.
Yeah.
You already knew that you probably, most companies cannot spend 200 grand on one campaign. You never will though, right? That's also very important. I mean, if you're a minus 2,000 on this campaign after 10 grand spent, then just fucking kill it. It's not going to become profitable, right? You don't have to spend the 200 grand, but you also don't want to leave 98% of the campaign untested, because does that 2% qualify for the other 98%? No. Does the 5 to 10% with like thousands of spend qualify for the rest? Yes, as long as it's more coherent. If we're talking about 10, 20,000 clicks, that's a good resemblance to the total, right? What we might expect.
Yep.
Okay, so in that system, obviously there's a choice there. I say never squeeze, just follow the fucking rules. We made them for a reason, right? But every time the question is why? Just gotta ask why, you know, why would you do this? Yes, because I want profitability. Well, how do you get profitability? Run things properly, how you should run them. And what happens is you go into a cycle, right? Okay, so this is the cycle. Test, and then question mark, right? And it goes like this. So what happens is you test, okay, you're only 10% of the way inside the testing, question mark, you make a decision and you test a new campaign, and again, and again. But every time you hit test, you go minus 500 bucks or minus $1,000, and again, and again, and again, and again, because you never reach that stage, which you have to go through, where the campaign takes a deep dive in terms of the spend and then recovers when you hit the profitable widgets, right? So again, I see people who are like, yeah, I launched 25 campaigns and I have no profitable widget. You're a mad cunt, right? You're just doing something. You're not following a system. You're just fucking around. Because you're not following the steps that are required. You're just so very much focused on, oh, I just want to see that profitability, which is then where you don't have the longevity. Of course, in a scenario where don't be delusional and go with the campaign minus 10 grand in profit and then think that you can turn it around. That's a little bit too much, you know what I'm saying? But
Yeah.
on the longevity side, I believe that you could indicate that, let's say 2,000 widgets, yes. Let's say you have to run this campaign. Yes, you have the whitelist of 2,000 widgets, just remove 90%. It's a gamble. But if we say that 100 widgets would resemble accurately the 2,000 widgets, just like 10,000 clicks would resemble 200K net spend, that's the same kind of equation. Then we run those 200 widgets and see what we have. If you need to run that specific campaign, but looking at the ad spend alone, it's probably not a good decision for most people. But there are many other decisions, right? We are all focused on this one thing while we don't see the full spectrum of opportunity. What I love about the longevity of things is that this is, again, one of my, I should show you in Excel. Let me, because this is actually a really good one. It's anybody who has done, anybody who has done any of my masterminds, they see this over and over. I teach this live in every mastermind. It's about cash flow. And it's one of my favorite topics to teach, right? But I will teach you here for free. Okay, so first we have, let's say, we can do it by day, yeah? So this is day 1. And then we just drag it out. Maybe we'll do 14 days. It's good, it's 2 weeks, yeah? I'm OCD, so I like to center everything. Okay, so let's say we run, this is the illustrative format. This is not how it's actually happening. This is theory, just to come across with a good point, yeah? So this is campaign 1, and then we have 8 campaigns, yes?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is the first day we run a campaign. Yes, the campaign run on a $100 a day budget. Yeah, so the first day, this one goes minus 100. This one goes minus 50. This one goes minus 20, minus 100, and the rest is all minus 100. Yes, so we end the day with the minus 650. Okay, that's bad. Yes?
Yeah, definitely red.
I'll just put it like that. Okay, so this is then we put here end result. So the end result will be the sum of these numbers. Yes. All right, what happens the next day? Yeah, so this is still the testing phase. We're still testing. Now here we're testing. Now all of a sudden we're going to say, it's still shit. Yes, this one became worse. It's not doing better. This one is doing better, $10 profit. This one is turned around, $50 profit. Yes, minus 100, minus 100, minus 100, minus 50. Okay, we see some green opportunity, right? The loss is significantly less this day. Okay, that's great. Two profitable widgets so far. Okay, minus 100. Minus 100, minus 100. This one turns around, right? All of a sudden, $100 profit. This one goes back, minus 70. This one turns sour again, minus 20. This one turns sour again, minus 20. And this one goes a little bit better, minus 20. Okay, what do we have now? Minus 330. Okay, we can see a little bit of a pattern, right? It's becoming better.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, now we say still some testing going on. Okay. This basically we know that this campaign minus 300 is not going to do anything, right?
Yep.
So we just black out the bitch. This one is done. So we'll just put it here. This one, minus 50, minus 70, minus 20, right? It's not coming into strong profitability. This one goes more down. This one goes down again. This one we gave another shot, right? This one we gave another shot. This one is now on 50, so it's showing some good effort, and this one minus 40, right? So it is becoming better. Why? Because we excluded this. If we didn't exclude this, it would be minus 390, so it's actually becoming worse, right? The overall performance of the campaign, because now we only have 7 campaigns left. Okay, still testing. Well, we decide, you know, this is no longer required. We're not going to run these anymore. The loss is just too significant. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so again, minus 40, again, minus 30, everything stays the same, just for illustrative purposes. Okay. So, minus 90, pretty good result. No, because the loss is extremely significant right now, right? Almost minus 2,000 loss on the campaign. And we're still only just testing. We still have more than half the campaigns left than when we started with. Okay, so now we basically have to go into optimization. You have no other choice, right? If you run this campaign too long without taking proper action, it's just gonna collapse inward. What's that called? The other one is an explosion, and this is called
Implode.
Implode. Yes.
Yeah. A Scottish guy is actually coming up with some vocabulary there. That was quite impressive.
All right, random achievement, but okay. Very random. Okay, so now it's at minus 20, right? We do the optimization, but we basically, what we do is you're trying to kill the reach, right?
Yep.
Which helps us, right? Doesn't push us into profitability, but it helps us. Oh, well, it does actually. Okay, so this is our first profitable day, right? Great, great. Then it goes to minus 10. This one goes to 10. This one goes to 10. This one goes to 100. This one goes to minus 50. Okay, so at this stage, we basically say that this campaign, we're also going to kill it, right? So this campaign also done. Just might be easier for the eyes if I just make these rows black. Like this. Okay. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 campaigns left. That's it. Okay. So because of the squeezing, right, this campaign, it just doesn't give us any reach anymore, right? These two. The reach is just not spending,
Yep.
which is quite fucked. This one is actually doing better, giving us 25. This one is giving us 100. There's enough reach on these campaigns left, so that's good. You know, we still have some opportunity there. But basically what we know is that the optimization stage is done. Now we just need to keep it stable on the scale, right? Which basically goes until the end of the campaign. So these two campaigns are also dead. All right, so now we're trying to play around with the bid. Doesn't go well, right? Becomes more expensive. Okay, what are we doing wrong, right? We're still profitable, but badly, you know, we're not made, look, we lost 600 the first day, now we're only making 70. This is not going well. Okay, we extend the list, yeah, we extend the list. It's going better for us, you know, we see some good opportunity there. It's going better, we see some improvements, you know. Okay, so now we find the opportunity. Now we have the good flow, you know, and now we scale the bitch, you know. We really have the opportunity. We get a private offer. We scale to the moon, you know, and good going. So what happens is you lose a lot of money. This could be days, but more likely it's weeks, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
I just gave the days for the illustrative example. So here is where the most losses are accumulated, right? You're like minus $2,000 almost in the minus. Then it doesn't get better. It doesn't get better. So what people do is they kill the campaign here. So let me just turn it into weeks because it makes a little bit more sense, I see now. They kill the campaign. Okay, let me just write down. They kill it here or any of these other days, right? They kill the campaign, or they could even kill it in week 1. So any of these options, they kill here. Here, there is some momentum, right? So they're not going to kill here. They kill it here. Yeah, that's basically the last option. You could kill it. Or you could say that they're very little profit. So here. So these are the options that you would kill this campaign, right? So out of the 14 weeks, more than half, so 8 times out of the 14 times, you have the emotional decision to kill the campaign, right? Yep. But if you just follow through with the structure on how to run campaigns, and I'm not saying this applies to every campaign, but this applies to 80% of the campaigns. They will result in this kind of structure. That from the 6,000, the last 2 weeks make all the profit.
Yeah.
This whole spree is just making up for the initial loss, you know, this aspect here. So this is the real profit. but you only get that reward after 12 weeks of running the campaign. So you need to be very strong with the data analysis. You need to see the campaign through, and you need to trust your processes in order to get to that point. And
Test
if you
of
don't,
resilience.
yeah, exactly. And if you don't, you will make the call to kill the campaign based on inaccurate data analysis, right? Because the data tells you to keep pushing this campaign because under preset rules, they don't qualify to be killed, this campaign. And you will see a very significant change in the campaign here, where basically all of a sudden, hella campaigns are being killed, right? Because they meet the specific requirements to be killed. And now the campaign turns around from week 9 to 10, you basically start to get the momentum, right?
Yeah.
But there is an initial dip again. So from week 7, 8, 9, it goes down again, and then it goes up, and then exponentially up.
Yeah.
And then can you imagine all the other weeks after this? And it will go down at some point, of course, but we assume that, let's say you could keep it stable for weeks at four grand a week. That's good business, you know, for one campaign.
Yeah, very good.
Normally I do this, but with a huge calendar, right? So a lot more variables and a lot more like real rules in it. But this was just a quick overview of what I believe that people do not understand properly. It's one of my favorite things to explain, because this shows that the only problem here is impatience.
Yes.
And
people,
the overthinking of the data. You know, you can analyze the data, but overthinking it are two different things.
yeah,
Where
true.
basically, when we go back to our graph, it goes like this, right? Let me see if I can draw it properly. So it goes, basically it goes like this. It goes down, then it goes like this, and then it goes like this, then it goes break even, right? And then it basically goes like this, somewhat like that. So first you go into the minus, and then the opportunity, you either know what you're doing, or you understand what you're doing, or you don't, right? When we do these masterclasses, we're doing one later today, right? It just amazes me that people do not actually understand what they are doing. You know, what does this whitelist do? What does the blacklist do? How would one explain this system where you have the option to properly grasp the concept? You know, I think this is one of the better explanations I've done, you know, and quite quickly in a short amount of time. But anybody should be able to draft this overview, but I think they can't, you know, because they will say like, oh, this is profitable or this is not in week 2 already. You know, the time frame that you have in your mind that it will take is a lot different than how it actually takes. One question, yeah, Ross, let me just test you real quick.
Oh no, I'm ready. Go for it.
If people ask, you know, this is a video on how to make money with ClickBank and Native Ads. How can you make money faster? It seems to be a trending topic continuously on how to make money faster. I believe it's not a right thing to do, in my opinion, but there's one way to make money faster.
How would I do it? Because I get asked this all the time: is how long is it going to take to be profitable? And there is
but there's only one variable which influences.
Yeah, I would say learn the process.
Yeah, but that's what we say is abstract, right? That's not a real applicable variable. Yeah. So looking at this overview, right, what we have here, you know, this is the timeline. You need to gather the data. Yes, that's basically it. If without the data, you cannot make the decisions. Yeah. Right? Mm-hmm. So if I want to make money faster, what would I need to do?
You could either run less campaigns with a bigger budget, which would then take you through the testing phase quicker, take you through the optimal.
That's it. Yeah, that's it. That's perfect. The second answer we don't need to hear because this is awesome. Okay. Yes, it's spend more money faster, right? Yep. Because the only way things can go faster is if you reduce from 14 weeks to 7 weeks, then it goes faster, but you just spend twice the money because you have to spend the money anyway because the CPA rule still applies, you know, to our system. Yeah. And that's just how the system is built. So the only way you can speed it up is to, if you wanted to do in half the time, double the budget. Yeah. That is the one variable that you can control. However, then you have to make the assumption that depending on the period, I would say 14 weeks and 7 weeks, that's fine. But let's say 2 days or 1 day, 1 day can give very inaccurate data if that specific 1 day is 4th of July, or that 1 day is Christmas, you know, or Boxing Day. You get very different results. So there has to be, in the law of big numbers, you need a sufficient data pool to create a constant.
Yeah.
And if you don't know what that means, then you are a poor data analyst, right?
Yeah.
With all these different metrics, it is important. And I understand, you know, if you're watching this on YouTube, you probably haven't run 7-figure campaigns. It is all very difficult to digest, but the ability to read the data is one of my favorite things. And it's also one of the biggest skills any media buyer can obtain. Because if you look at all the data points, you know, I even just this schedule alone, you know, you'll notice that at some point you'll have a big problem with cash flow if you scale to the moon, you know, and then you got to cut some deals. I know this is very difficult. We'll leave you guys here. If you have any questions for Ross or myself, drop them down in the comments below. We'll be sure to have a look. Other than that, thank you guys for watching. If you're interested in native ads, check the links in the description. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.